Welcome to the Beast one shot. Today it'll be damned by our precious beard boy, Video James, and we're gonna be playing the one-page TTRPG called The Beast. It is by Grant Howitt, a staple of this troupe, and Chris Taylor in collaboration. It is a one page, so it's very simple rules, and I'm just gonna hand it over to James, who wanted to talk a little bit about the mechanics for you folks at home.
Yep. So the way that this game runs, it is going to be more the role playing portion and less of the gameplay portion, where you have to frame a scene to effectively figure out weaknesses of said beast in order to determine how to get rid of it. The way that this works is that we would roll d10s if the outcome is in doubt. So if we don't know what's going to happen to you, we would roll d10s. Now, if the action that you are performing, that you have framed here, fits your background, and you're able to explain how it fits your background, you get to roll an additional d10 on your roll. And if you also have the relevant skill, you will add another d10 to the roll. Now, I roll either 1, 2, or 3 d10s, depending on how challenging I consider the task to be. If your score beats my score, then you have a success. If you are equal to or less, it goes badly. So what happens when it goes badly?
Here.
Yeah, there's no meat to beat. It's just you have to win or lose. When you are injured or suffer extreme stress, wow, can't use that word. Generally, if you fail a roll, you have to roll an endure roll versus a 1d10 per how many times that you have been injured or deranged. On a success, you are good, and on a failure, you are out of action and need of rescue. If you're not rescued, you are at the mercy of the beast.
The Beast.
Yeah, the beast. So, the way that this will also work is we can obviously go more into this as we continue to play. When you take advantage of a weakness, that you say you discover something or the beast discovers something about you, you actually downgrade your dice size. So as it goes, if you are using the weakness of the beast as you are progressing, you will downgrade the beast's roll from. It technically starts with a d20 when you are actually encountering the beast. Anything else is a d10. But if you are encountering just a regular thing that you're having a struggle against and you have a weakness for it, you will knock its d10 down to a d8.
Word.
Oh, okay. So we need other dice.
Well, he needs other dice. We just need
I
D10.
Yeah, you need
Okay.
d10s. I need.
Okay.
Well, there's also a potential that should the beast figure out a weakness of yours,
Yeah.
and prey upon it, that you have to roll a lower die.
Yeah.
So-
I will keep them available.
So keep track of weaknesses as we go.
Sure.
Okay.
All right. Is everybody cool with the rule set?
Yeah, and we talked about
Yes.
it a little bit beforehand, so we can do this a little more
As we
cinematic
go.
like.
All right. So
I'm gonna just hit this Oregon Distant track. Ooh, this is nice.
all right. So we begin our tale in the small village of Relova, resting at the foothills of the Carpathian Mountains. Normally a cold village, recently it has been made even colder by the looming threat of an early winter. Here we find our vagabonds for hire, as they are summoned to the town hall to address the recent disappearances. I'm going to go ahead and have you guys introduce your characters. Whoever wants to go first, it matters not.
There is a well-dressed man at one of in What's the town hall like interior like?
It is like a several sets of benches and stools, all
Like a
set.
church almost?
Less church, more like mini stage.
Okay.
So there's like a small podium at the front for whoever is standing up front needing to address the town. And otherwise, it is a smaller room that is a vaulted ceiling, exposed rafters. It's drafty, it's cold and dark, lit by some really dingy torches.
Gotcha.
It is very cold this time of year.
So sitting in the first row, like all the way to the right side of this pew bench type deal, is a very is it just a raw rectangle of a man wearing a trench coat that comes whose collar comes just up barely to his eye level. He's got a bowler hat on and a pair of circular, dark tinted glasses that have the lenses of which can be removed and replaced with different colored lenses. He's currently got two just dark like shade glasses in, I guess for effect at this point. He has the trench coat is like an earthy, mountainous green, and underneath he's wearing a vest and a deceptively near crimson colored dress shirt, and a pair of nice dress pants, a black leather belt, big black leather boots, and laid neatly across his lap is a flintlock musket. This is Hans, the witch hunter. He is sitting very, like I said, very rectangular, very stoically, just absorbing all the information presented by the speaker or the speakers around other people who are making comments. He has hunted mainly witches in the past, but something about these disappearances hark eerily similar to the way in which his sister Gretel was once taken from him, and so he has taken up more or less a personal case in this matter.
You also have, you know that it's near the outskirts of this village is a witch that you know of that is not necessarily on the side of the evil. However, you know that as witches
can't
go,
be trusted.
she can't typically be trusted. However, she has reached out to you regarding these disappearances.
So like I would imagine then in his coat pocket there is a stained piece of parchment with that same note that she had sent to me.
And it's stamped with a crow's foot as a signature. You know that this is that's the signature of your Auntie Lucy, Lucia Petrushevska.
Lucia.
Yeah.
Lucia. Auntie Lucy. Very well. Very well.
Okay. And sitting next to you, we have
Bryn. She's just like modestly dressed, commoner clothes in earthy tones. Not really anything special about her. Like, she's got patches and stitches where she's mended her clothes.
Is she carrying anything on her person? I should follow up. And do you guys know each other?
No.
I would imagine she keeps an eye on the people that come through town, so I've at least noticed Hans around if he hasn't come to my stall.
He's a large brick of a man, so I would imagine so.
It's hard to miss Hans walking through the town.
There's the that one show with the giant robot, and it's like this is the giant robot, but then like the princess and like her guard also have a robot robot companion that is very square shaped. If you don't care, I don't know. It's
I get it. It's Bob from Overwatch, but in human form.
Yeah. Yeah.
Big hulking fella. All right. So as you guys are called in here, you know this was a meeting called by the Baron Wojtek Malenkov, and as everyone is kind of chitter-chattering around you, wondering what the meeting is about, you hear the door slam behind you as Baron Wojtek begins walking in. He is also a rather large, imposing man, shaved bald head, and a large handlebar mustache, black as can be. He has very deep-set, dark, piercing eyes, and is wearing a large fur coat that trails all the way to the ground. And you notice that his hands are covered in gold rings, and he has a large gold chain hanging around his neck of various gemstones, large gold medallions connected together to make one large chain.
It's at this point that Hans switches out the dark lenses for clear lenses.
And now that the doors are closed.
Yeah. Well, now that there's someone to look at. He's just kind of in his own head.
So the Baron shushes away some people who are trailing behind him as he comes in, and walks haughtily towards the front of the town hall. And he goes, "Hello, everyone. I am sure you are aware of why I have called you here today. We have a creature in our midst, and it is getting far too close to winter to be losing townsfolk and livestock and crops. So, somebody here is going to be taking care of it, yes?"
Hans raises his very rectangular hand.
Well, we have one volunteer. The foolish man over here, so that is one. Is anybody else wish to investigate these disappearances?
Do we have any information on it?
I will take that as a volunteer. Good job. You two, stay after. Everybody else, get the fuck out of here.
Oh, he was serious. It's just the two of us. Oh, okay.
We can't be losing more people to the investigation. We have to get the village ready for the winter.
Just like a twitch in his eyes, like...
You take it that the Baron is, one, he's kind of an asshole. And two...
Really?
The villagers hate him. Nobody else, when you guys looked around when he was asking for volunteers to investigate these things, nobody else moved. And when you decided to ask a question, he took that as an invitation to just say, "Okay, cool, you're doing it."
I expected as much.
Yep. So he has everybody else clears out faster than you could ever possibly imagine a village town hall could empty out.
Why even show up? Okay,
So
yes, fine,
any
yes.
More questions.
Thinking, yes.
So, you big fellow, what do you do?
My name is Hans, and my profession is witch hunter.
Oh, that might actually come in handy. Good for you.
I saw the poster.
Good. You can read. That's a positive. And you, what do you do? What are your relevant skills?
I can cure all your ails.
Sure, fine. That's cool. All right. So, here's how things have been going down lately. Multiple hunters have not returned from the past 3 or 4 hunting expeditions. No one knows how they disappeared. All they know is that they were black scorch marks or decay left behind in the last location that they were seen.
Lex, Scotch marks. Hans produces a small leather-bound journal from the other side and starts to flip through it.
Several farmers have also gone missing, and several townsfolk from right here in the center of town have also gone missing. Everything seems to have a similar stench about it.
Is there a description
No.
of the stench?
No, they just say a stink.
It's very helpful.
Oh, I agree. But that's for you to figure out. You come back, you tell me the kind of stench.
Just one eye. Looking up at him as he's taking notes in the leather-bound book.
And the other questions. This is starting to become an encumbrance upon my day.
Oh, we don't seem to have any information on.
That is for you to find out. That is for you to find out. You come back to me. So here's the deal. You come back with whatever this thing's is head on the platter before the first snow. Yes? And we'll put it this way to give you a little bit of incentive. If you don't, your heads will decorate the village gate. Yes?
That's quite
sure. Hans does not believe, even if he did fail, anyone could catch him.
You are under the impression that you are not the only people, or you are being watched by several of the Baron's men. They can see you getting.
And I have been
riled
watched
up.
by many of the witches, many familiars. This has nothing to do with Hans.
Either way, you either die here, or you die outside the village in the cold. Capiche? All right.
Ah,
It is time for my lunch, and I am very sleepy and will be taking a nap. Get the hell out of my town hall.
Hans.
right out the door.
Hans with a trench coat flourish exits. We are looking at a very large, dramatic man who takes his job way too seriously. Or just seriously enough. We'll see.
Well, yeah, you never know.
I'm muttering to myself as I close the door that I should slip something in his drink.
Excuse me, just say something. You have another piece of input before you leave.
No, not at all.
Okay, cool. Bye.
When we exit the town hall, walking down the steps, Hans, I've already forgotten your character name. Bryn. Hans will turn to Bryn and say, "Your accent is American."
I'm just not doing enough.
Yeah, well, now it's American.
Congrats, you've been American.
Okay.
America
I
hammer.
come from a far-off land.
Like a land down under, or what do you mean?
No, it's far, far to the west.
Okay. And what do you do in this faraway place?
I'm here to sell my wares. I create
Can I see?
mystical posts. Sure, yes. I open up my coat and there's my stock that I keep on. Of just bottles of different.
Why don't you roll investigation against her?
Sure.
You have to roll. So you're going to roll.
How many dice?
I'm going to say that this one is going to be. It's going to be an easy roll. You're probably not the best at hiding the fact that you are technically washed up.
Well, I
How
do
many
have
dice?
deceive.
So you're going to roll. Oh, that's true. Are you trying to deceive him?
Yes.
Okay, so you're going to roll 2d10.
Me?
Okay.
And she's going to roll 2d10. You're going to roll 1d10.
1d10. Okay. Well, given my background as a witch hunter, would I know how have a proficiency in spotting actual potions from real potions, having encountered and battled with witches who use potions?
I guess we'll see.
Oh, okay.
We'll see how good she is at hiding it from you.
Okay.
Yeah.
You got a hell of a marketing team. I just rolled a 2.
I got a 7.
Got a
Okay.
7. I take
So
one of
when you
your
look,
take one of your potions, uncork it. What does the label say?
What color is it?
Like a sickly green glass, something clear liquid.
Oh, that would be a sleeping tincture.
When you smell it, it smells like mint, but a little bit of like acidic, almost bile smell with it.
Personally, I would never put this in my body, but if it works for someone, that works for someone.
All right. I just stick it back in my coat.
It's like a mild dose of, like, opium.
Oh my god!
No, I'm just thinking like berries and leaves mixed together with water to make it look colorful.
Yeah, so the one that he pulled out of your coat was a mixture of mint, as well as raccoon vomit.
Great, fabulous. That's not gonna make anyone sick.
Eating my stores.
Yeah.
However, no one knows the science behind raccoon vomit these days.
No.
You never know. So, where do you guys want to start? You've been tasked with locating a monster that you only know a little bit about.
Hans wants to, at all costs, save talking to Aunt Lucy till it's 100%
That's fair.
absolutely necessary.
Really,
so
it's going to be really weird.
His first instinct is to track down a relative of the latest victim or the first victim, whichever is easier to find.
Okay.
That's his instinct.
Yeah, Bryn, what do you got? What's your game plan here? You guys can talk it out amongst each other.
I go straight to the church because that's where everyone spills everything.
That's fair. All right, so there is a church
I have sins to confess as well, and if I may die, I would like to go and see Saint Peter.
So you guys make your way over towards the very obvious-looking church.
Yeah.
It is a large, Gothic-looking stone church. It's not so large as to be cathedral-like, but it is very oppressing as you walk up to it. It is surrounded by a graveyard that is fenced in by wrought iron all the way around for a good acre. It's a fairly large property that's dedicated to the church. As you walk up, we'll say that this is... Everybody just got out of a town meeting and are kind of returning to their daily lives. And as you're walking up, you notice that the priest is walking currently up to the doors of the church.
Here, Father.
Oh, hello, Hans. It is good to see you.
It is our tradition to confess all of my sins before embarking on another dangerous hunt, so this is why I am here. I understand that you may know... Is this Bryn here?
Bryn, it is always a pleasure to see you.
If you would...
How is your week going? He's talking to Bryn. This is a friendly conversation between him and Bryn.
Hans is just already inside the church.
Yeah.
He is all about business.
Yes, my week has gone quite well.
Indeed. Your sales of the potions and tinctures going well? You've healed many people?
Oh yes, I've had quite success.
For those who are not in story, this is Brother Kresimir Dubinsky. He is a portly yet very young priest. Recently has come to this village, considering that the last priest disappeared. You don't know exactly the time frame. You just know that he's only been here maybe a month to a month and a half.
When you guys enter the cathedral space, you see Hans kind of trying one shoulder and then like backing out and then trying to like... He's trying to Tetris his way into the confession booth as he finds himself to be just a little too big.
Hans, he knows that the confessionals are only for show. Come sit. It's always this way with you. You are such a strange man.
Forgive me, Father, for I
What?
have sinned.
That is the Lord's will, I suppose.
Forgive me, Father, for I have sinned. Brain, if you could, this is a confession, not
Oh.
It's okay.
not the
It's
gossip.
You can just it's okay. He won't even notice, I promise.
Forgive me, Father,
Yeah.
for I have sinned. I have taken the life of another person, another witch, and I have added her toes to my collection. He produces a glass jar of witch toes and places it
Hans,
on the pew.
this is, while weird, it's not. It's a witch. It's not really a sin you're doing.
He produces
the Lord's
another
work.
glass jar of toes.
It's just weird, Hans. It's not really a sin to collect the toes of a witch. You're doing the Lord's work, but the toe thing is just a little strange. Yes?
He produces a third glass jar of toes.
Okay. Hans, put the toes back in the coat pocket. I'm going to the
It's
sick.
back into the satchel. You now realize that was the clinking glass sound that has been following him around.
That's like so many witches, man. That's like so many.
I
It's really
tracked her for miles through the rain and the sleet in the mountains until I found her shabby shack into the side of a cliff.
But again, Hans, this is not.
I knocked upon her door and I said in my best little girl impression, "Hello, I am
He's
here
looking
to
over
sell you strudel."
Hans, yeah, the brother. I cannot say his name right. Brother Kresimir is looking over at Bryn as this is happening because, like, Hans is very clearly into his story and not listening.
Fugue state.
And it's just one of those, like, he keeps like, he's not sin, he's witch. He's doing Lord's work. There's nothing to absolve.
If he feels guilty, then he feels guilty, I
The
guess.
little girl voice, why is that necessary for part of story?
What's with all the toes?
I do not understand the toes. Anything that I know regarding which the toes have nothing to do with it. I do not understand. Anyway, Hans, yes, all is absolved. Say 3 Our Fathers and 2 Hail Marys, and you should be good for until the next witch story comes along.
Thank you, Father. And he goes right up to the effigy of the Virgin Mary and starts to do his penance, giving you guys ample space for your conversation.
Okay.
So Bryn, tell me, you
Yes.
have been conscripted by the Baron, yes?
Yes, we're meant to track down this monster, but do you have any information, brother?
I only know a little bit. I've only been here a short time, yes?
Yeah.
But previous father who ran this church, his name was Stanisek, our brother Stanisek. He was out walking the fields as he would walk to do. It was very calming for him, got him closer to the Lord. And all we know was where he was last seen, there was a trail of decay that followed back into the woods, leading towards the mountains. But this was a month ago. People assumed that the priest found a wounded animal or something, lead it back into the woods, but no one know why he didn't come back. But unfortunately, there's not much else that we knew regarding Brother Stanisek before that.
It's quite unfortunate. Has anyone else reported any relations to happenings?
So the hunting party has lost several members. Also, similar story now that things are getting a little closer together in terms of disappearances. Yes.
Mm-hmm.
So Ratko and Lumir, both in the past hunting trip, have gone missing. They did not return from the trip. When it was reported to their families, we found that Lumir's wife has also gone missing from her home.
So doesn't give us a whole lot to go on. We might have
If
to
you
go out
want to
and
go check,
investigate.
if you want to, if I know that Lumiere lived out just beyond the village gates. When you leave the town, and you were to take the path going towards the right, Lumiere's house was over in that general vicinity. I apologize, I'm not super familiar with the town, but Lumiere was a good man. He came here many times, like Hans. Good, get blessings before hunt.
Thank you, Father.
Oh, you're welcome, Hans.
We will investigate his house. Seems to be the next best lead. Yes.
Seems to be our only lead, but
Well, not the only lead. He says as lightning cracks in the background. Hold on, I actually have thunder. Hold on.
Oh, storm's coming in.
Yes,
Yep.
yes. Swifter than the wind. And all business.
You-
Hans trudges out.
As you guys are exiting the church, you do notice that there is a storm starting to brew at the base of the mountain. If you were to kind of test the air and figure out the wind, you would assume that it's going to blow past you. Now you kind of do like a there's a spark and a humidity in the air that gives you the sign that there is a nasty storm coming.
Click
We'll
me
have
is
to
acting up.
we'll have to make this trip to Lumiere's hut very quick.
Yes, Hans the double. And you see him. He puts his arms up in like a 45, a 90-degree angle, and then just like hup, 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 hup. He's got the rifle slung over his back. Hup, 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 hup.
Suppose I'm following him.
What else are you gonna do? And we exit town and we go right to Lumiere's.
You head over towards.
abandoned house.
You guys would probably know better than the priest would where Lumiere would live. As you get closer towards it, you start noticing an awful, like, smell of decay, like swampland. It smells like
Methane
like
and-
rot. Yeah,
Methane, sulfur.
sulfur, and it just smells like. It's not like a decaying body smell.
It's
just
not
smells
like- It's
It
not
smells
like stomach
earthy.
acid.
no, it smells like earthy
It's like compost.
and yeah, like a compost.
Methane, sulfur, compost.
But it definitely doesn't smell like a house should. It smells like you're walking into a swamp.
Okay.
So this is what they mean when they say it is a house and not a home. It's the smell.
I think that might be because of the monster.
I would like to investigate the house.
Okay.
Sure. So when you walk up to the house, you notice that you would know that Lumiere and his wife lived alone. They didn't have any
No
children.
children. Yeah.
Lumiere, they did have.
Lumiere suffered a tragic donkey accident.
When you walk up to the door, it is slightly ajar, and you do notice that
It's a door,
yeah.
not a jar.
When
I'm
you,
sorry,
when you
I'm not
walk up,
taking your
the
your
smell-
one shot so seriously. No, it's fine. We'll get there.
The stink gets stronger as you're approaching.
Ugh. Ugh.
Here.
He changes out the clear lenses for would be like the opposite of red, so he'd be able to see blood. That's what he was looking for. So it'd be like not green. Well, no, every other. Well, no, clear lenses would be the best for this because red is already like a standout color.
When you walk in the door, the first thing that you notice is that this house looks like an animal ran through it.
Are there claw marks, paw prints?
There are claw marks everywhere.
Cool.
Tearing door frames. Curtains are shredded. Couch cushions and like furniture are just in shambles. It looks like somebody let a wild pack of dogs into here. But you also notice that across the floor is just a trail. There's no blood, but there is a trail of dark black that goes leading out the back. passing through the kitchen and out the back of the hut.
Like, Hans takes 2 fingers, takes a sample of the track of the track, lifts it to his nose. What does that smell like? Is it like more concentrated rot smell?
It's like you just stuck your fingers in swamp water. As you lick it, you immediately vomit. Give me an investigation roll.
I have track as one of my skills. Could that be another D10?
Yep, absolutely. And kind of frame what you're looking for as you're doing it.
Any mark that can help me narrow down the taxonomy of the creature that did all this.
Okay.
I can tell by by the direction of the point of droplets, the direction in which it was moving, by the number of droplets and by the cluster of droplets, by how close they are. I can tell about how fast they're moving, but like the general shape that imprints and scuffs make by what would be a foot or a claw or a hoof, or like the number of claws I see in scratch marks. These are all things that I'm taking note of.
So roll an investigation. I'm going to say that this one is actually going to be a challenging roll, but this does follow in the vein of your background and your necessary skills, your investigate skill.
Yeah. So just 2d10?
You're going to roll 3d10. I'm going to roll 2 as a challenging.
Oh, okay.
Yep.
Cool.
So you have to beat a 12.
Cool. That's a 0, a 6, and an 8.
So a 0 is 10, technically?
Oh, yeah.
Yep.
10, yeah.
So you rolled a 24?
24.
So, because you have a astounding success, you have doubled the amount to beat me here. A couple things that you do note. One is
Let me describe how he does this. He gets... So this brick shithouse of a man gets down on his tippy toes and tippy fingers and starts to scuttle around like a crab.
So first thing that you notice, what you are touching is in fact just decay. It's
like in its purest essence, the plutonic decay.
It is like everything that has been touched just rotted. It aged 200 years on a touch.
Are my fingers okay? Is my tongue okay?
You're okay. It's just everything that has been kind of like rummaged around. That trail that you're seeing is just disgusting rot. Okay. It's just something that has just actually full out decayed.
Gotcha.
So like if you're touching the floorboards, it's punky old wood that has turned into like fibrous slime in your hand. When you touch like a curtain that has this on it, you notice that it is just goop as you're trying to lift it. As you lift up a strand of it, you notice that it kind of like stretches and slimes off to the floor.
When all is said and done, this would make the wine-making process very expedited.
It might make the most disgusting wine you've ever had.
But expedited disgusting wine.
Hyper fermented wine. Second thing that you notice with your exceptionally good roll, the claw marks that you are noticing, that you're looking for various types, trying to figure out what your type of animal tracks you're looking for. You notice several, and nothing matches.
I'm looking at mismatched claws.
Mismatched claws and hooves and handprints and footprints of various things.
Claws, paws.
You're seeing deer, you're seeing bear claws, you're seeing raccoon parts, you're seeing human handprints. You are seeing human handprints that might be too big. You're seeing various things that are just mismatched as you're going through.
It is as if the entirety of Noah's Ark came in.
Exactly.
On riding a hurricane. What is this?
Second thing, or last thing that you notice with your really good roll, as you're proceeding into the kitchen, you notice that a lot of the food stores are gone. However, I'm going to have, because you rolled so well, I'm going to point something out to you. Nothing has touched the salt. There is a jar and a bag of salt in the pantry, and it's the only thing left.
Have you come to any conclusions?
He sticks his pinky in the salt. Hypothesis. We are dealing with some kind of ectoplasmic reticulum that has taken on the many characteristics of the animal kingdom.
Just naming cell parts. I have a degree in biology. I know what an endoplasmic reticulum is.
Well, I said ectoplasmic. Ectoplasmic reticulum that has taken on many characteristics of the animal kingdom. Reasoning? The salt has been untouched. Salt breaks down ectoplasm on a molecular level. And yet it is the only thing here in the pantry that has not been touched. That and those potato chips.
The potatoes are rotted, but they're covered in salt.
They're covered in salt.
They're just gross potatoes.
Just gross.
The salt
He
and
bites
potatoes
it.
were bad weeks ago.
He takes a bite into a pretzel and then throws up. The pretzel is
Do you
bad.
need
The salt
anything
is
for-
still good.
Bryn, what are you looking for in here?
I don't. I'm following him around. He goes to inspect the goop. I collect some of the goop.
What does it do to the glass bottle?
The glass itself starts to decompose itself. It starts to crack and
This would
shatter as you
be
put it.
like pre-modern glass. So would it melt like old-time glass does slowly over time?
Yeah, just slowly over time, your jar is starting to sag.
Oh,
That's
Almost like
bonkers.
it's almost
I
like
love
it
that.
has like a heat to it. But it's fine. It's holding. It's just slowly you notice that it just seems to be sagging.
well, I'll need to find a better container for this.
Something more permanent than glass, which is very permanent indeed.
What? Would
So-
it have to be metal?
The metal may rust depending on which one. I truly am at a loss as to how you would contain such a mysterious thing.
Yes, I definitely want to study it.
As you guys are sitting here discussing the various goings on in this house, you notice that the back door from the kitchen is open, which leads out into a small pasture that they were keeping sheep.
Were?
You notice that there are several things resting in the pasture out back.
I imagine you gave me that particular description because of how good my roll was still.
Yes. Yep. It's just part of, even if you had followed the trail going outside, this is
Right.
something that you would have noticed. This is more of progressing through.
Hans sees the back door unlocked. He unslings his flintlock, snaps the leather-bound book shut, puts it in his coat, shoulders it, and starts to muzzle down to the ground. Starts to slowly exit the back door into the pasture where these quote-unquote things are.
When you get outside, Bryn, are you following him?
Yeah, I make sure to grab a couple of vials of salt, but yes.
Okay.
Good. That's good. I should have done that.
I was basically just like, ooh, this is
You
interesting.
could literally
Stick it in
take the bag of
jar.
salt with you. They're not going to use it.
Looting!
As you progress outside, you notice that there are several black splotches that have protrusions coming out of them.
Hans, just under his breath, has started singing, "Baba, black sheep, have you any wool?"
Not anymore.
Shut up.
I'm gonna have I'm gonna have you, as you're kind of looking at your at these closer, you do notice that there are pieces of sheep.
Hmm.
There are signs that these animals at one point have been eaten and have since decayed to the point of turning into... It looks like they had been picked clean by... You ever see those videos where they do like the time lapse of insects cleaning animal bones?
Yeah, time lapses of like whale falls and shit.
Yeah, so it's like that, but it just had happened instantaneously and left the grass underneath it. So like it just had decayed out, and there are like, as you're looking, there's a head missing from one. There's a leg missing from another one. There's half of one sitting. There's the other half of a different one, and halfway across the pasture. And Bryn, I'm going to have you roll a watch.
Okay. It'd just be 2, yeah?
I'm going to go ahead and say yeah, because you're not using like your background, you're just using your skill. So it's going to be 2.
Yeah. That's a 3.
Okay. You get a cold chill that you are not alone, but you don't see anything. You kind of get that shiver down your spine of like, if this were a horror movie, there is as you have this eerie feeling that as you're sitting here investigating these corpses of various livestock strewn about in the pasture, something else is watching you. But you don't see anything. It's just a feeling.
I have the unsettling feeling that we're not alone out here.
All right. Now, because you rolled pretty badly, I'm going to have you roll an endure. So, you are going to roll 1d10, and I'm going to roll 1d10. You just have to beat me on a d10.
Okay.
I rolled a 7.
We tied. What happens?
Beats is a fail.
Yep, beats is a fail. Or a tie is a fail.
So she takes a point
you
of
are
madness?
you are gonna take an injury as something walks up and bites you on the calf.
I scream.
Hans, you hear her screaming.
I spin around and I line up. I bead. I line up the shot for whatever it is. I spin around, having it like completely up now. It's at first it's at her face, and then I look like zigzag scan her down to see what it is.
Okay. As you look over, the thing that has just bitten onto her leg, it has the head of a dog, but it has the body of a much smaller animal, like a rabbit.
Oh my god.
But it has pieces of flesh missing from it, exposed bone, an eye hanging out of a socket. And you look down, Bryn, and you see this thing has chomped onto your leg and is drawing quite a bit of blood.
Yeah, I want to stab it in the face. I pull my dagger out of my boot.
Yeah, roll 2d10.
2d10.
Yep.
Okay.
This will be a fairly easy one because it's not exactly moving. It's trying to take a chunk out.
Mm-hmm. That's a 9.
I rolled a 2.
Awesome.
So you take a stab at it, and you notice that it goes through too easily.
It's like putty.
Yeah, so you hit the thing. Where do you stab it?
Just like its head where it's grabbing me.
Okay, so you stab down to get its head where it's grabbing you. Its lower jaw breaks off as you stab through it. Almost like what was holding it together just gave way. And it is let go, and you're able to pull off the piece that is still stuck in your leg and pull its fangs out from you. And as you let go of it, it kind of like lets out this guttural, disgusting scream that you've never heard before. It sounds like a dog barking or a dog howling, but at the same time, it sounds like a human voice mimicking the sound. As it tries to retract its jaw and starts to run.
Heavily salted.
Oh, yes, the salt. I just kind of like fling it out of the
I'm going to
jar.
have you roll one more because this thing is
Yes.
trying to leave, but it's going to be an
Yes.
easy roll.
Can I assist with a shot at the thing as it's running away?
Absolutely, you can slow it down.
Cool. So,
Both you roll a d10, and we'll consider that 2d10 versus
can I?
1.
Would it be 2d10 because I have shoot and track, and I'm tracking it as I shoot it?
Sure. So you roll 2d10. Bryn, you're going to roll 1. I'm just going to roll 1d10. It's pretty much a guaranteed success for you guys.
Depends on what he rolls.
That is a 3 and a 7.
So 10?
Yes.
Plus my 1.
So an 11. I rolled a 3.
Hey, yo!
So you get this shot off as you hear this disgusting guttural noise, and it starts sprinting away from you. You take a shot that rips a leg off, leaving it hindered, and it's trying to hobble over towards its leg. And Bryn, you run up and just handful of salt directly onto this thing. As you do, it just screams again and again. It sounds like a dog in pain, but also has the voice of like a small child as it screams out. And you see that where you threw salt starts eroding like you threw it on a snail, where it's bubbling and corroding away.
Hans,
so
you can
gross.
if you're looking at Hans's face, his eyes are stone cold, but you can see his mouth like fighting the twitch to contort into a sadistic smile.
Oh.
Well.
Okay.
Bryn, he takes out his notebook. What have we learned?
That salt burns it?
Salt burns it.
And as you hear salt burns it, you hear a rolling thunder as the storm is approaching closer.
We might have to head back to town for the night.
Burns it.
Bryn, why don't you give me a heal roll to try to patch up your damn leg?
Yeah, that'll be my next priority.
Does she have varicose veins in just that one area?
This thing
Gross.
This thing was trying to tear meat. It was trying to take your leg. It was not eating you. It was trying to take. So it is ripped pretty heavily into your leg. But you are a physician, so you do have heal as a skill.
Physician.
Yeah, physician.
Yeah.
I love it.
Does that give me 3 instead of 2?
Yes, because you are.
Okay.
It follows your background and your skill.
That's much better. That's 14.
Good. I rolled a 10, so you are able to. You pull a tincture that you know actually works for clotting blood, and you rub it into the wound and pull out some gauze. You're able to find some stuff in the house too that wasn't necessarily fully ransacked, and able to patch yourself up enough that you're able to, progress further on. You can push on a little bit. But
Salt's also good for disinfecting.
Yes. That's a strange little thing you said there, huh? So, you guys are gonna head back to town. What are you doing?
Which would be faster, going into town or paying and boarding with Aunt Lucy?
Technically, you are closer to Aunt Lucy than you are to the town. However,
How fast is that storm rolling in?
It's enough where you would think that by the time that it was dark, it would be a heavy storm. And you know that it's starting to get into the era of cold, where it's not quite snow yet, but it is. This cold might take you out.
Last question. Where does the trail lead?
The trail leads further back towards. You know that if you were to continue looking on past where you were, there's just more farms.
Just more farms. Okay, so it's not like going into the woods conveniently near Aunt Lucy's house.
No.
Nah. Okay. Well, back to town.
Don't want to go to Aunt Lucy's yet? All right.
No, we can shack up at my house.
Maybe I'd like to see.
that was.
Maybe if I'd Lucy wouldn't be too bad. So, he's muttering under his breath. I have to speak with an old friend. I will meet you in the morning. And he tips his bowler, and he makes his way to Aunt Lucy's house.
All right, and Bryn, you are heading back to town.
Yes.
All right, we will do Aunt Lucy first, and then we will go and what happens with Bryn. So
For this encounter, Hans switches out the clear lenses for tinted red lenses.
smart move. So you started knowing the directionality of where Aunt Lucy lived. The further that you get, the more you're seeing crudely made wooden charms hung through the trees and scattered about the rocks as you're getting closer up the path to Aunt Lucy's. I would put this in quotes, house.
Mm-hmm.
Where you know that this is a very ramshackle, cobbled together pieces of wood laid over a cave, effectively. It is several boulders shaping into what could feasibly be a residence, with outcroppings of wood and moss and various other coverings leading into further down into a cave-like structure.
Hans stands stoically before the very dimly, it's very dark at this point, and the storm is rolling in. And the storm is close enough that flashes of lightning can illuminate this area, and in between flashes, we initially see what is actually there. Then we see what Hans remembers, a beautifully decorated gingerbread house made of candy, and then back to what is really here, the ramshackle house. And
Hans, if you were to take your rose-tinted glasses off and view this normally, this area is pristine, white picket fence made of peppermint, and the house itself has gingerbread and frosting and gumdrops. The glass panes are made of sugar, but as you put your glasses back down, you see exactly what was described. Just an awful, dreary, disgusting cave.
Hans has to take a couple extra seconds just to beat tears into submission back into their disgusting eye ducts. And then 1 knock, 2 knocks, 3 knocks.
And the door bursts open on the 3rd knock. And you have, with your glasses on, you see this just absolute mane of gray and white, matted, disgusting hair. It's got twigs and leaves and cockroaches and whatnot crawling out of it. She's got 6 teeth, maybe, and long, bony fingers, and everything is just kind of cinched together with a belt made of what you can only assume is snake leather. She just skinned a snake and then decided to tie its skin around her waist. As she reaches, "Oh, Hans, it's been far too long." And she reaches up, grabs you by the ears, and kisses you square on the mouth.
I'm gonna roll not to vomit.
Yep. I'm gonna have you roll an endure, actually, to make sure that you are not being deranged.
How many dice?
It's just gonna be 1d10.
Okay.
Yep. This is the first time that you've had to deal with it, and you have to beat 2.
That is a 9.
Okay. You've been through this before. You've had various witches attempt to pull their disgusting tricks on you.
Guten Tag, Florline.
So as she slips you a little tongue, you see the dribble of spit come back to her as she pulls away. She's like, "Hans, it's always good to see you."
I come on urgent business, and he makes a point to adjust the rose-tinted glasses just up his
pushing
nose,
further in.
just so that he can truly just see in 4K the reality, instead of even for a second letting himself have the saccharine relief of the illusion.
You notice in your periphery that her feet, like she is barefoot, but her feet look like that of like a 20-year-old, and they are just pedicured, and that she has like the very bottom of her dress just looks like, instead of being the rags that you noticed when you walked in, she just has a nice, well-hemmed white linen dress that goes to her ankles, just in the periphery at the bottom of the glasses.
I am here. Because...
You're hearing about the beast, aren't you? I sent you letters.
I saw. I read. And I'm here against my better judgment.
It's been 15 years since the last time you had this situation.
Since a beast like this, or since I've let my eyes fall upon you?
Yes.
Yes. Very well.
I figured you'd want to know, considering the last time you were here 15 years ago. Auntie Lucia has been doing her own research for a price. I can maybe partake with what I know.
There. For the sake of not having anyone repeat what someone else already knows, I know that I am hunting a hodgepodge, a menagerie of animalian parts, hands, hooves, claws, paws, beaks, and they do not like salt.
Oh, and it stinks. It's got the awful stink.
Yes.
Well,
what do you want from me that you may give me more than what I already know?
It depends. What are you willing to part with today?
He produces one jar of witch's toast.
Well, I was going to ask for your toes, but that's fine too.
Inner monologue, little does she know I have 2 more jars.
She's just so disgusting.
Gross.
So gross.
Well, there is a way about this.
Am I like at her door still, or have she?
No, she brought you in, and she brought you in. It's up to you whether she offered you a seat, and it's up to you whether or not you want to sit down. How comfortable you want to be in Auntie Lucia's house.
Right. He specifically, I imagine there's like some kind of bench nook seating. He's specifically trying to sit in a corner so that there can be nothing behind him, and he can see the whole room and all the exits. He knows how to. This is how he deals with witches.
You go and there's a piece of wood lodged between 2 rocks that has several jars and bowls of various whatnot of like twigs and leaves and bug
he like picks one of them up, pretending to inspecting it, but really he's just moving things aside,
clearing space to sit down.
Very interesting, yes.
You always were the careful one, Hans.
She knows what you're doing.
Of course.
Did you think that Auntie Lucy was going to take advantage of you?
I can expect nothing less. Prepare for the worst. Live every day.
You are quite the specimen, Hans. Now, as per our deal, I promised you information, and I am a witch of my word.
You notice that she is like pulling out. She pulls out this large wooden bowl and a big pestle, and she is mashing up various ingredients into this bowl, and she's taking like You watch her drop like a whole rat into the bowl, and she is crushing up like some leaves and she pours in something from a pitcher that, as you notice, as she's pouring it, is just pouring brown.
Just brown.
It's just
Cool.
brown, thick and
coffee.
brown.
Oh,
Yeah.
thick and brown. Oh, the worst kind of brown.
And she's mashing this up as she's talking to you. And she's like,
This creature that has been plaguing the area for the past season, it's not proper. It's not clean.
This is very rich coming from you.
Indeed, yes, I thought so too. It was very funny. However, it's eating all the things that I like to eat.
and she goes and she takes a bite out of whatever she's pouring into the bowl of this disgusting
Just like
concoction.
a frog leg.
Yeah. She's just biting into, you see like she's chewing and there's like a cockroach like bouncing between her lips. And she like picks it out and flicks it at you because she's just disgusting.
The utter dichotomy of this very round and spiky shape person, and I assume illuminated behind her by a fire, and then the opposite side this large imposing rectangle still thing lit by the moon, or like a thunderstorm in a mirror in the like window next to him. The dichotomy of these two characters in this scene is just very nice to me. I like it.
All right. So, as you are sitting there and listening to her talk, you notice that this is very much like. Have you watched the Hobbit movies where you have Radagast trying to heal a porcupine baby?
Yeah.
As spiders are trying to crawl over the hut?
Yeah.
As you're talking, Hans, roll me a. I guess this would fall under. I would put it under investigate, but this is more of like what in D&D terms would be considered like a perception check.
Okay. I don't want to keep vouching for my track skill.
That's fine. That
okay.
works too.
Yeah, I mean, hey, whatever dice I can get. Like, there's merit in this game for choosing skills that can arguably be a little redundant.
Yes.
That's a 5 and a 6.
Okay, so I only rolled a 4.
Ah,
so that's good.
that is great.
You notice that there's a lot of movement outside Auntie Lucy's hut.
Oh no.
And as you're sitting there, Auntie Lucy looks at you, smiles, and snaps her fingers. And you notice this disgusting sound. Like, it sounds like her bones are breaking.
Great.
These, like,
I love it.
It's like super bony, long fingernailed fingers snapping together. And it sounds like she just cracked several bones doing it. And she just cackles as lightning strikes right outside her hut, leaving a scorch mark on the ground. And all of the movement outside stops.
And that was what exactly?
It's a wee bit of little witchcraft for you.
It is embarrassing that you thought that would impress me.
It should impress you more than you think.
You take notice that. Take a step outside, Hans. She ushers you to the door.
He puts one hand on the threshold and kind of bends down and takes a step out. You can smell the scorch mark on the ground, on the wind. I imagine it's like there's like light rain going on.
It smells like ozone because of the amount of ionization in the air from the storm. And the lightning having struck so close to where you are. And having it happen so ominously.
Like on command is the thing.
On command. It's almost like she did it on purpose. Where she...
Oh, really? On purpose?
Well, you would assume that if there's a storm approaching, that there's lightning.
Mm-hmm.
But it happened at the same time that she made all these really weird gestures. So she tells you to look outside. This leads you to go out the door. As you're looking out the door, you see burnt bones. But they're a human femur. The skull of a female deer. The arms of a small animal. You maybe like
a possum?
I don't know. Yeah, some sort of small creature, some rodent. But they're just burning.
So your tip to me is that whatever it is weak to lightning.
Ooh, you are a smart one, Hans.
My only qualm is that every fucking thing is weak to lightning, Aunt Lucy.
Well, it's not true. Aunt Lucy's not weak to lightning.
And
You're not every.
You can tell by looking at her arm as she does this little point. She has fractal scars. She's been struck by lightning before.
Oh yeah, really, really.
This crazy old witch has been struck by lightning several times.
And what is this supposed? How is this supposed to help us? Can you make my gun shoot lightning? I don't think so.
Well.
Wait, can you?
Not without a little. Witchcraft.
I have 2 more jars of toes in it for you if you can do it.
We might have a deal. Maybe we might discuss it. I really want your pinky toe.
Why my pinky toe?
And we're gonna cut it.
What
there.
is this, Yakuza?
And we're gonna go over to Bryn, who is walking back into town. Bryn, you notice that this town is dreary, but people have their way of making things lighter, right? Mm-hmm. You notice on your way back home that there is a smallish tavern who is having a little celebration, right? They're keeping their spirits up despite all of the awful that's going on. And you see Brother Kresimir walking out of the tavern, rosy-cheeked and shit-faced.
Those men of the cloth and the communion wine.
Yep.
Britain, that was Britain. Oh, I haven't seen you all day. Won't you come in, have a drink?
Sure, yes, as long as you're paying.
Hey, brother, it's a nice thing about being a brother. You don't always have to pay.
But anyway, come on in. And so are you following him in, or are you going to head home?
Nah,
Okay.
I'm gonna follow him in.
Did you? He's like, hey, have a drink. He brings you out a goblet, and he's got a pitcher of wine at his table. He was sitting outside getting some air, and brings you inside, pours you a pitcher of wine as he's offering you a drink. He says,
where's your investigation led you?
It led us to Lumire's, and we found some quite...
yes, Lumire. Praise me. Okay, yes, hey, sorry, continue.
Yes, his sheep seem to have been devoured and decayed.
Oh my. Well, that's awful.
Yes, it was quite disturbing to see the little black piles of goo with the horns sticking out.
Black piles of goo.
I bring out the vial that's sagging with the goop.
Well, that is a new one. Well,
Yes. Look what it's done to my vial.
Oh, my goodness. This is the work of the devil. Please, put that away.
One thing before I do. And I bring out the vial of salt, and I sprinkle some into it.
And you watch as the salt sinks in, and as it sinks in, it's almost like causing it to fume out of the vial.
Okay.
As it's kind of burning off, bubbling over, and steaming out of your vial.
Well,
He's like, I need one moment. And he pulls out a large leather-bound journal that he has.
Okay.
Brother Kresimir has been. He is a priest and he is a religious man, but in this day and age, you can never be too careful. And he pulls out this journal of. I found this in the last church that I worked in, and it had notes from somebody who I don't know who this is, but in this journal they detailed something about salt and its purification. Things that are unclean can be made clean through purification rites of salt.
So, what you're saying is I need a lot more of this.
Or it depends on what you're dealing with, I suppose.
It had the head of a dog, which it used to bite me, and screamed like a
you've been bitten?
child. Yeah.
Oh, that's
showed-
horrifying.
Oh, it's like you look at the wound on your leg. Did you put salt in the wound?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes, I did.
So your wound is fine then.
Okay.
It is.
Not
It's not festering. Yeah. But so he checks you over. Being a priest, he's seen plague-like things. And he just looks at the bite and he's like, it looks like a dog bite.
It does, but none of the other marks were consistent with dogs, and I don't think a dog could do that to all those sheep.
It's very interesting. It's quite the conundrum. Well,
Doesn't seem to make any sense.
I have a store of salt. You're more than welcome to partake. And as he's saying this to you, someone bumps him and spills their drink over his shoulder. You take a look at this guy. He's got a hood pulled up partially over his face. But I'm going to have you roll an endure check on this.
Okay.
It's easy, just 1d10.
Okay. It's an 8.
I rolled a 9, so you're gonna take a level of madness from looking at this guy. So I'm gonna describe him to you as best as I possibly can.
How are we marking madness? Just like ticks?
It kind of works like an injury. Yeah, you just like you have 2 ticks now.
Okay.
It'll be 1 tick for injury, 1 tick for madness.
Okay.
This guy catches you off guard. Almost like when you see something that is like, you know that it's supposed to be, like, you know that this is a man. Okay. He's wearing his hood indoors, but there's something wrong. When you're looking at him, it's unsettling and like uncanny. Almost like he didn't fit in his skin. Like his eyes are sagging a little bit too much. It seems like, he apologizes to Brother Kresimir, but as he's apologizing, his mouth kind of moves. It just doesn't quite look right. And it's so deeply unsettling that you've never seen somebody look like this before in your life. In all of your years of being a physician, you've never seen someone who quite looked like this. You don't know whether he's been a burn victim, if he was attacked by something, but it just doesn't look right. It is that uncanny valley between what is good and what is off. And he's, oh, I'm so sorry. I'm very, very sorry. I didn't see you there. It was my fault.
Oh, it's fine. You seem new around here. Have you been able to see my stall yet?
Oh, I'm sorry. I don't have much ways of participating in social endeavors. Excuse me. I heard that the the singer lady is going to be starting soon, and I'd much rather be gone before then.
Don't let me keep you then.
I think I appreciate it. He kind of pulls this. He's like, I'm terribly sorry, and he leaves a coin on the table to make up for the spilled drink, and walks away.
I want to watch which way he goes as he exits.
As you see him exiting the tavern door, the singer, there's a woman singer who starts playing, and she has an accordion accompanist, and she starts singing this haunting tune as everyone kind of a hush falls over the tavern as everyone starts listening in. And as she starts singing, you don't take your eyes off of this guy, and I want you to roll a watch for me.
Yes. Okay.
Haha, as you are literally watching.
I'm gonna roll 2 as a challenging watch. You get to roll. You can roll 2 as well. This doesn't really fall into your physician category, but it would fall under your skills.
Yes.
What do you got?
18.
I rolled a 14.
Ooh, nice.
You watch as the lightning strikes. This is the concurrent strike of the cackle of Auntie Lucia for Hans, as you notice the lightning strike outside, as this figure, as he's walking out the door, shudders, hearing the siren song coming from inside the tavern, and you see a twitch in a shoulder and a bend in the leg, and the leg goes all the way back the wrong direction. The other leg bends all the way in the wrong direction. His left arm sinks to the ground as he reaches a full height of over 12 feet. And you notice that the hood starts to protrude as antlers start to raise up. And you see the next flash of lightning, he's gone.
That's not suspicious at all.
What are you talking about? Did you see Brother Kresimir is patting the wine off of his tunic? He's like, what are you talking about? Suspicious.
You ever seen anyone's limbs elongate?
Well, no. That's strange.
Yes, lightning's a natural occurrence, so that could have been anything. So, I'm assuming it has something to do with the singing.
You don't know.
I don't know.
It's something for you guys to figure out.
Yeah.
So, at this point, nothing else kind of strange. You have a regular conversation with Brother Kresimir going on into the night. And then you head home, kind of on edge. You were shook to your core by the face of something. And you make your way home clutching your dagger. And you make it home safely and into bed. Hans, you spend the night discussing various things with Auntie Lucia. And she hands you, in the morning, what she was messing around with in that bowl. She hands you 2 vials of.
She's like, I remember, Hans, you just dip your bullets in, you just dip your musket balls in this, and the weather's gotta be just right, but honestly, it probably would do the trick.
What does it smell like?
It smells like coffee. It's not.
You know what? I'm just gonna call it highly caffeinated.
Highly caffeinated rounds.
Haha! High calf rounds. How many rounds to a vial?
She only gave you 2.
Right, but
Yep. It's
only 2 shots.
It's
Wow.
2 shots.
Okay. High calf rounds. How's the weather this morning?
It's still storming.
Great. Hans
But
will,
it's getting colder.
Hans will take his goodbye.
Come back now, Hans.
She tries to give you another kiss. It's like full
Duck.
tongue.
It's like he's already halfway out the door, and he's much stronger than she is. Like, physically speaking.
I'm gonna marry that man.
And he makes his way back to town.
All right, so you meet up with Bryn. You are, I'm assuming, wanting to meet back up with Hans and discuss. You two can discuss the information that you have come together with.
Yeah, I'm waiting in the town square with like my little stall doing my thing until he comes back.
Hans just appears without you hearing behind you. Which is disconcerting, considering his shape and size.
Very light on his feet.
I have good news and I have bad news.
Oh, what sort of bad news?
The bad news is, Auntie Lucy could only tell me that the creature is weak to lightning. Much like you and I, and every other fucking thing in this world.
Yes, lightning does beat everything.
Lightning is very powerful. The good news is, I can harness it. I can harness lightning this, and he holds out in his it'll like wedged between his fingers the 2 vials of high calf rounds. Also, I
Can
only
I
have
see
2
those?
shots. I do want to see some. Is you a witch?
Well, I have my own tinctures that I...
He reaches for his knife. He's been working with a witch this whole time and hasn't known.
Do I look like a witch?
I would like to make some kind of opposed roll to not kill her.
Sure.
Go ahead and roll. Is there any part of your skills that you think would fall on
Well,
that?
I am a hunter specializing in witches, and then I do have the investigate skill.
Yeah. I would say roll 3d10.
3d10.
Are you trying to deceive him?
Yeah, it could be deceive or charm.
Well, are you trying to?
Are you trying to deceive me
yes,
charmingly?
I'm trying to be charming, so I guess charm.
You're trying to be charming, but you're not trying to lie to him about...
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because
Are you
I'm
a
not
witch?
No.
Are you a witch? What is
are
the
you a witch?
difference here?
Yeah.
Grooming?
So you can roll a d10 to see if so Bryn will roll 1d10. Hans is going to roll 3d10.
If anyone should know what a fucking witch is, it's me.
Yeah.
But I have charm. Can't I roll 2?
Sure, if you're trying to convince him otherwise.
Yeah.
Okay. That's a 4, 8, and a 2.
Yeah, that definitely beats my 6.
Okay. She's not a witch. You're just assuming that. You notice that her stall, while the tinctures and the vials and stuff that she kept in her coat all seem to make sense. The ones in her stall are like colored water. It's like Kool-Aid.
Yeah.
Some sugar water. Some of them are just straight up cocaine.
We can
in a
see
cup.
him doing the internal math. On one hand, she is a woman. On the other hand, these potions here are fake. On the one hand, she does deal in potions. On the other hand, she's profiting off of fake potions, and a witch would never do that. Or would they? They are crafty.
I know ones
I won't
that
kill this one
make
yet.
like hex potions and stuff, sell them on Etsy so that like they make money off of stupid people.
He's decided not to kill this one yet.
Yeah.
So as you guys are discussing the things, Bryn, do you tell him about the events of last night?
Elongated man.
Yeah, I want to tell him about the elongated man.
So you tell him the description of what you saw of the
Yeah, like the backwards knees.
yeah, the legs that bent the wrong way, the arms that were just too long, and how before you saw him, it was like seeing somebody wearing a rubber mask made out of human skin.
Quite unsettling.
Perhaps we are dealing with the one known as the unfathomable Abraxas.
Did you want to ask anybody if they knew who this guy was?
That might be a good thing to do.
Yeah, I want to ask around.
Sure.
Hans has not seen this guy, so we definitely wouldn't ask him.
No
He
idea.
would not, yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
The village isn't very big.
Yeah, I'll
So-
just start with the market. Like, have you seen this strange character description?
So you go up to a couple stalls, and people are just like, I don't know what you're talking about. I would recognize that right away. The description of what you said, that seems pretty awful. But you run up to a stall of a woman who is selling, more or less, they're like rosaries and like various like religious things. Alongside Hans, you recognize like small charms and things that ward off magical things. And you
Is she
see,
a witch?
you would assume that if she's sitting here, that she's not a witch. She wouldn't be so. She wouldn't be so in the open about it.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. Yes.
Bryn, you would know that this is Vera, and she is just a local kook. She's just a crazy old woman who.
Okay, so she
her-
is a witch.
She's a witch in the sense of the real world, what witches would be.
Right.
Like
she's a historically accurate witch,
historically accurate witch.
Yeah.
as opposed
and
to actual witch.
But she's just like a little high strung. She's like high anxiety. You would know that having lived in this village for some time, she lost her husband 15 years ago, and has ever since she lost her husband and she lost her family 15 years ago. So ever since, she has been selling protective things. She has made sure that her house is locked down tight. And Vera just sees you coming, and she's like, "Oh, Bryn, I have some things that if you want to add to your wares, I have a few I have a few charms that we can add in. They're healing charms that might be of some use to you."
Oh yeah, those would be lovely.
And she like sets out a couple for you. They're all very good. I just made them this week, and it's 3 copper apiece. And you have the money if you wanted to pay for it. She's like, I heard that you're after it. I heard you're after it.
Yeah.
That buzzed like crazy.
Yeah.
I did not
Yes,
understand a word.
I heard that you're after the beast.
Yes, we're after the beast. We have a few leads. An encounter.
Have you seen it?
Yes.
We have seen what it can do.
You've seen the rot in the body.
Yes. It's quite disgusting.
Have you seen the tall man?
Do you mean the one with the strange rubbery face?
I do not know about a rubbery face, but I do know about it's too tall and too long, like it's made up of bones that are not it, that doesn't belong to it. You've seen it. I can tell on your face. You've seen it. And she starts getting into hysterics and starts getting really worked up and starts like tearing up and like clawing at you. Being like, "You've seen it."
Yes, I've seen it.
Back away.
Since you see to Hans, she sees you put your hand on your musket, and she kind of backs off a little bit. She's like, "Okay."
They have the common enemy.
You have. I can. And she started like, rocking back and forth. She's like, "You have to sing. You have to sing to it." And she starts singing. She's like, "No, Mama, no. Please don't let me go." She's like, the stalking feet and tattered lips, rotting eyes and sinking ships. And she's just singing this rhyme back, and as she's kind of like rocking back and forth. And as she's kind of falling into this kind of like hysterics, like creepy hysterics, where she just won't stop singing this rhyme, and she's just like, "They never sleep, they never wake. Flesh is their own dinner to take." And she's just slowly kind of like backing away from the stall.
Hans is gonna
and
check his 6.
Yeah, as you check your 6, you notice that Baron Wojtek is coming. Hans and Bryn, how are things going?
Guten Tag. I have
So you
some
have upset
means.
See, you've upset the old lady Vera. It's always very funny. Good foot, good laugh.
This is no laughing matter. She's being very useful. She's supplying us cryptic yet useful information.
I'll take your word for it. Sure, that's fine. I received word this morning that Jacentka Farm did not check in for market this morning.
Then away we
Another
must go
one.
then. A hot trail it might be.
They are the biggest farm in this village. They supply lots of food for the winter. Lots of currency come in for trade.
Hans gets
Is that-
really in this fucker's face. We require all this salt.
It is winter coming. You think that we have salt to spare?
He pokes his belly. Da.
As you poke his belly, you see that a very large man who is a head taller than you immediately directly nose to your ear, nose to your cheek,
And he's like, no, Radomir, it is okay. He is fine. He just poke my tummy a little bit. It's okay, Radomir. Settle down.
It's like having a bear walk up and stick its face right into yours, and it's like right here.
Hans is faced worse and
Yeah.
creepier.
No,
Hans
Radomir.
is goofy, but always serious about his goofiness.
Radomir, it is fine. He do investigation. I can part with.
And he kind of claps, and he's just like,
Vlad, bring over what you have here.
and you see Vlad run over to another stall that is selling like salt and is also selling like
Jerky.
salted preserved meats.
Yeah.
And he walks over, shoves past the vendor, and just picks up like a 50-pound bag of salt. And the vendor's just like, "No, my salt! It's my salt!
I need that for the meat."
Hans like reaches into his coat, and he's been holding on to this coin, not sure if he should spend it because he did find it in a witch's hut. He flicks it over at that guy who was just stolen from.
I'm gonna have I have a coin here.
Yeah.
Heads or tails is accursed.
I'm gonna flip this coin to see what happens to this vendor. So I'm gonna tell you I have several different of these coins. I'm gonna sell one where I'm gonna tell you that the lighthouse says it is the lighthouse on the coin says it is decidedly so, and I'm gonna let you decide what happens if it lands on lighthouse. On the back is an hourglass, and it says your choice is ill-advised.
Okay.
And that is going to be what happens.
So
to the
no,
vendor.
but like here's the thing. He wants to use it like this is payment, but he's been hesitant to use this coin because he's not sure if it's cursed.
Yep. So we're gonna.
Okay.
All right. It's a lighthouse.
Lighthouse.
It is decidedly so.
All right.
What happens to this vendor?
I want to make it like
You effectively gave this. You gave this guy a leprechaun coin. Effectively.
Right. I think it would be cool and cursed if there's a Italian folktale about a witch's magic cauldron that just constantly spews out spaghetti unless you know the magic words. So if like this coin, if it's placed in a bag or something of something, it'll duplicate that substance indefinitely and at an alarming rate unless you know the magic words, which of course Hans doesn't know, and therefore this vendor doesn't know. Like that's just something that the coin can do now, but right now it's like it bounced off of his chest and is now on his like counter or whatever.
How many ways can you make the bucket of frogs?
Yeah.
Okay, the Chris Bucket of Frogs
made-
worked a little different, like.
You've effectively
It
given this
worked
guy a
differently.
windfall where he is in 30 years' time. If this village survives,
Mm-hmm.
this man will run this town
I mean,
handily. This
mean-
village will be known for its various smoked and salted meats.
yo,
Ooh,
Malikov
sounds
is a
delicious.
dick.
And, this is his name is Slimmest Jim.
Slimmest. Praise be Slimmest Jim.
And his salted meats. So, as this is all going down, you remember that Baron Wojtek Malenkov has told you that the Jasenko farm
Jasenko.
has not reported it.
Mm.
Jasenko farm is like a half day's travel. That's how big this farm is to get to the farmhouse. It is the biggest farm in the village. Right? They raise various different forms of livestock. They have acres of crops. They have the largest house in the village. And for some reason, the largest merchant has not come in today.
Yeah.
Damn.
Hans, how is in what receptacle is this salt that he's just gotten?
It is a big burlap sack of salt, like a 50-pound
Big
bag.
burlap sack of salt. Awesome.
It's like when you go to Home Depot and you get a bag of mulch. It's just
he's going
full of
to
salt.
tie like loose rope that he has to either like two corners, and sling it. He's gonna take off his rifle. And he's gonna sling this salt bag over his shoulders, and then sling the rifle back over like cross that. So now he just has like a salt backpack. And I'll explain why he did that when we get to the farm.
All right. Salt bag, yeah.
Salt bag.
I
I was so tempted to be like, you take off your musket. And a little goblin runs up and takes your musket and runs away.
You bench! You absolute bench!
And a tiny little gnome just goes, whoo! And just
Oil
runs
the
and grabs your gun and runs away. No, so you guys start taking your. I'm assuming you were going to the Jasenko farm.
Yeah, just on foot.
Yep.
Yeah, I'd make sure to purchase a couple trinkets from her stall before we leave.
Tell
Okay.
me, what is it like in your country of origin? This is the conversation we're having on the way.
Yep.
There's lots of angry people.
I know of anger. Many witches are not happy that I come to take their lives. That is what I do. Anger can be bad, and it can be... And he gets... Again, you see his mouth, like, twitch in resistance of a sadistic smile. Very... very justified.
Yes, I think their anger is quite justified as well. The king doesn't exactly hold on taxes.
Taxes, yes.
As you guys are approaching on foot, again, it's still a stormy day. It's not thundering, but it is fairly rainy most of the way.
Besides the conversation, it has been a miserable walk.
This conversation has been a beacon of sunshine throughout the day. So, as you're approaching this farm, it is becoming more open as you're reaching pastures and acreage of crops. But the smell is starting to get strong. You recognize that scent from the Lemir's house of
There it is.
decay and rot. Bryn, roll me another watch check as you are approaching.
10.
Okay.
Wait, no. Is that a... Yeah, that's a 6.
What do you got? 10 total?
It's a 10, yeah.
Okay, I rolled
I thought
a
it
9.
might have been a 9.
I did roll a 9. So, as you are approaching, you hear movement in the field next to you. And as you are hearing this, you kind of give Hans a nudge, being like, "Hey,
Yeah.
shh, there's something."
I reach for my other vial of salt.
Hans, as you kind of acknowledge this, you start to draw your musket from your sling. I would assume.
Yeah, just off.
As you hear, something speeding up, running towards you, and the crops spread, and leaping over the fence is this monstrosity that has the head. When I say head of a steer, it is the head of a steer that has been sheared down to the bone, with bits of decaying flesh hanging off its jowls. But it has the body of a bear.
Damn, son. You've created my new favorite animal.
And as this thing lets out a venomous roar that has the undertones of a cow bleeding, you hear it with the guttural roar of a bear behind it, and you swear you hear the voice of a man undertoning everything, screaming at the top of his lungs as this thing comes lunging over the fence at you.
Cool.
I'm going to go ahead and say, frame what you want to do right now.
I want to fling the salt at it.
That's great. Hans wants to book it. Not to fight it, to book it. To make it chase.
Okay. You said, but Bryn, you said you're flinging salt at it?
Yes.
Go ahead.
Piss it off and run.
Yeah, piss it off and run. Yeah. I'm going to have you roll 2d10.
Okay.
Actually, give me the reason why this would work for you other than just tossing salt.
It's directly in front of me.
But like you're not a combat person, like other than just scattering powder. Tell me why this would work for you.
I have.
Because I'm going to tell you that this is going to be
drinks at guys at the tavern.
As part of your washed-up village physician.
Yeah.
You have
guys come accosting me because it didn't work. You didn't wait too long.
Okay. Roll. I'm going to give you 2d10. I'm going to give you 2d10 for this. I'm going to tell you that you need to beat a 14.
Damn it! Is that a meat? These don't have like a thing that discerns an.
Oh.
Okay, no, that's a 6. That one's a 6, so this one's a 9.
I'm also going to say that you have to roll d8s and not d10s because.
Oh, damn it! Okay,
because you have been terrified already.
Okay, yeah, that's fair. That's only a 13.
Okay, so you lose by 1. You fling the salt, and you notice that it just doesn't seem like enough. It's like when you fire
too much mass.
You fire birdshot at a bear.
Right.
Yeah.
This is significantly smaller than birdshot.
Yeah, and you see it do damage. You see it singe as it gets hit by it.
Yeah,
but it's like when it's like when you throw water on a hot skillet. It just and sizzles off and it roars at you.
We just shot a moose in the head and it did nothing.
Yeah. Effectively, you just using the wrong caliber. So you guys are gonna book it.
That's Hans's plan.
Hans and get Bryn at this point. You pissed it off as well.
Mm-hmm.
I'm gonna have you both roll. I'm gonna give you both 3. I'll give you both 3
Cool.
for this.
While we're running, Hans, assuming that this thing does not have human level intelligence, is going to scream, "We must find the center of mass, the largest, most infected pile of this garbage, and we shall surround it with salt, and we shall make it burn! Understood?"
I'm going to tell you that this isn't looking good for you guys, so you have to roll well.
That is a... Hold on. Oh, that is a 9, a 7, and a 3.
Am I still rolling d8?
So you rolled a 19. No, for this one you rolled d10s. This was just
Okay.
because you were panicked at something that
Okay,
terrified
okay.
you. I'm going to give you that. I'm going to give you that.
Okay. So that is 19.
Okay. Who rolled better? You guys both rolled 19? You both rolled 19?
Radical!
Okay.
Yeah.
You are running away from this thing with the intent of giving chase back to the farmhouse, right?
Yeah, yeah. I mean, the Hans's goal is to draw a lot of attention to himself and, I mean, get chased, in order to create to create as much, a big enough, a large enough concentrated mass of the infected, in order for his plan to have the maximum amount of damage to whatever infection this is. This is the terms that he's putting this creature in, because he's seen a small creature that is also infected. He assumes this is some kind of disease and not just one big thing, but there of course has to be one big thing that he can eliminate to make the cleansing process much easier.
Right. So you guys are attempting to have it like lead it back towards the big
the barn,
epicenter.
really. That's
the epicenter. Yep. So what ends up happening, however, because it rolled, I shit you not, I rolled 3d10 and rolled 3 9s. You guys you're able to keep ahead of it, but instead of you giving chase, it corrals you to a field of just decay. And in front of you is a herd of cows. A whole pasture of sheep. Every piece of livestock has been picked apart, leading into this open field. And directly in front of you is not the barn, but the farmhouse. And standing behind you is this bear with a steer head with large protruding horns. And you see the back of the house as thunder starts to roll in again. And I'm going to have you guys both do effectively like a perception check. It's going to work for watch and investigate.
Gotcha. Because I don't want to keep vouching for track.
That's fine.
Yeah.
It's whatever works for you.
Yeah, 2d10.
Yeah.
Let's work.
Yep.
Let's fucking work.
It'll be 3d10 because this will follow both of your backgrounds.
Hell yeah.
It's just going to be... I'm going to have you roll 3d10.
Let's fucking work, dog. That's a 8, a 1, and a 9.
So 18?
18.
Why did we both roll the same number again?
That's crazy,
That's
dog.
Weird. Both roll an 18?
Yeah, I got a 9, a 7, and a 2.
You notice that in this field that things are starting to list up off the ground, and they are slinking back together as the head of a sheep onto the body of a cow, the 2 legs of a cow onto a chicken head, and it's just a tiny head on a huge body as these amalgamations start sprouting up around you. And you see in a flash of lightning the cellar doors going to the basement of the farmhouse. Those storm cellars that have the angled doors.
Yeah.
And you see a rattle behind one of the doors as you are effectively walking into hell. Another flash of lightning, and you see the door pry open with a human hand. And it seems weird as this hand seems to reach through the whole door from the darkness of the cellar without seeing the body that it's attached to. You see too much arm. And you see stepping out is this man in a cloak with its hood pulled up. And you see the arm kind of clink and snap back into place as he puts back on this human facade. And he is standing in front of this farmhouse, staring at you in an open field surrounded by these monstrosities. What do you want to do?
Slowly. So slowly. Hans is going to take the salt bag off of over his head, down off of his shoulder, until he's got rifle in one hand, salt bag in the other, just slowly maintaining what he would consider eye contact. And then a tumbleweed passes through. Just an inconspicuous, like, out of place tumbleweed. And Hans is gonna throw the salt bag up in the air and then
okay.
Like right above him.
I'm gonna have you roll shoot.
Shoot?
Yeah.
That's it? Just one?
I'm gonna have you roll shoot for just this. No, it's gonna be as part of your skills.
Okay.
Shoot's one of your skills.
Shoot, yeah. So
and
that's
I will say that you get to add on the fact that you're a hunter. You'll have marksman on it.
2. It's 2 dice.
So it'd be 3 dice. So you get one for the action, 1 for the skill, 1 for the background.
Brilliant. So yeah, he's gonna shot put this big bag of this, 20-pound bag of salt that he just yeeted up with all of his strength right directly above him. Effectively, in essence, trying to make a rain of a lot of salt.
Yep. I get what you're doing. You got to be a 10.
How does a 9, 8, and a 6 smell?
That'll beat a 10. You throw this bag up in the air, and with your massive size, you're able to throw this up like you're doing a hay bale toss in the woodsman in the lumberjack games.
We go into bullet time.
Yeah.
You see him fling it up and then catch it.
You see as he catches it, and then the glasses fall down into the clear lenses as he's doing it, and you zoom in onto the scope of your musket, effectively like a scope, and you pull this bag square in your sights. The shot fires through directly, ruptures the bag, and causes an absolute shower of salt as it combines with the rain.
Without
the shot
missing a beat, Hans drops to one knee and starts to he drops a
to
ball.
Another shot.
Yeah, he drops his shot into one of the vials of high calf shot, and then starts to prepare. Just while I assume there's a tension up and then a tension to just all that, he's just immediately down, not skipping a beat. He is trained, he is focused. This was kind of the plan all along.
So as you do this, you time your shot, and at the same exact time that you pull a trigger, you see a lightning flash. Thunder rolls as the musket ruptures through the mountains, and you see the salt combined with the rain as it starts to pour down on these monstrosities, and you hear the bellows of agony as these monsters start to dissolve. They're still crawling their way towards you. The bear minotaur behind you is starting to dissolve, but it is slowly pulling itself. As you can see that the salt and the rain is forcing it to just sink into the dirt and the mud as it's approaching you. However, the beast, so to speak, is not close enough. So you see the next flash of lightning, and it's closer than before. And you hear this voice that sounds like several people talking at the same time. And it sounds almost like it's mimicking a human voice, but it's still talking clear to you, and you just hear, "You're smarter than the last ones. But it doesn't matter. It matters not. There is only darkness for you and your people. and you see it pick up one of the little beasts that was next to it, and you see him just pick up ungodly strength as it just lifts it up one-handed, and you see this human jaw distend as he consumes it and shovels this thing down its gullet. And he's like, this is just the beginning.
What did our people ever do?
Hans, half paying attention, and he doesn't. I guess he was like kind of like not impressed by the trinket lady at all. So the reason why he's doing this is because this is what he does when he's reloading his rifle. He's just singing a drinking song to himself, just under his breath.
And you see that as he's doing that, as the beast is getting closer, he can start hearing Hans. And you see this twitch and clack as bones start rupturing from the cloak and ripping the clothing to shreds as it starts to elongate. And it reaches heights that it's... Stop that. Stop that!
I join with like some sort of
you're just
about not going into the forest at night, otherwise you'll be eaten.
And it starts roasting. Stop that! As it's getting taller and taller, what you notice.
How much longer do I have to stall to load?
You're effectively getting to the point of loading, but I'm just describing what you're saying at this point. This thing looks like it's been cobbled together by pieces and bones of various creatures and other victims that it's claimed. It has large deer antlers protruding from a human skull that look like it's like would have been a massive stag. It was like elegant, long deer antlers protruding from it. But it has this human skull with just a jaw the lower jaw missing. Again, it's just too tall for what it looks like, for how bones should be formed. And its legs start cracking as it's retaking its form, as its legs bend backwards and hyperextend. And its feet just kind of turn into, like, unfurl into these just
like not dentigrade, but like quadruped or something.
Yeah, like you just see these like claws extend out, but the claws themselves look like they are pieces of other bone, like the phalanges of your finger extending out further and further and further.
Gross.
As his shoulders crack and drop, and his arms extend down, and you see the same thing with his fingers, that they extend out further than they should. And you hear this roar. He's like, I will devour whatever is necessary to take over this world. As he reaches up and swipes up another one of these little animal minions that he created and consumes it in front of you as just this disgusting hawking as he's swallowing it down. He's like, stop the singing! At this point, you would have reloaded your gun.
Cool. Excellent. That's brilliant. Hans would like to... you said you had the...
I'm gonna, before you continue on,
sure.
Both of you are going to roll Endure for having seen this transformation in front of you.
Yeah,
that is which dice now?
So you're going to roll a d10. You haven't been hurt yet.
Cool.
But Moss, you are going to roll a d8 for having suffered derangement already.
Yeah.
1d10, here we go. Don't fail me now. That's a 6.
Both of you are going to suffer a little madness as he rolls a
perfect.
13.
Oh, perfect. Yeah. His tune becomes a little more crazy.
Yeah,
you are becoming less and less of the man you
all
once were.
around the mulberry bush, the monkey changes the weasel. And he takes a deep breath to try to smell the ionization of an oncoming lightning bolt. Some monkey thought it was all but fun. He times it. Pop! And then
And
lightning
roll-
bolts.
Roll 3d10.
3d10, let's frickin' go!
I'm going to tell you that he's fast, so let's see.
You know, let's give it a flip for good luck. Woo. Woo. That was almost 2 flips there. Let's go. Okay. That's a 3.
Okay.
Wow.
Total?
That's the lowest roll.
Did you roll 3 ones?
I rolled a 0, a 2, and a 1.
That's a 10, 0.
Oh!
It's-
I rolled a
yeah.
13.
Okay, good. Because that beats what he rolled.
Hey, yo!
Yeah, you land this shot, and you notice that, like, you drop this vial down into your musket.
Oh, I
along
thought it was
with
like
your
a thing I
musket gun.
soak the bullet ball in.
No, it's like you drop the vial into the gun with the bullet.
Oh, nice.
So what happens is that the bullet projects out through, and what you see, we're going to see this in bullet time, where you say "pop goes the weasel." We focus in on the trigger, and it pulls. You see him pull the trigger. Musket fires. Flintlock comes down, strikes the gun. Bullet fires through. We see exiting the barrel are shards of glass covered in a green flame as this musket ball erupts out the front of the barrel. And it lands so true and lands and rips into the shoulder of the beast. And you see it it looks like when you light paper on fire and it starts to smolder and burn in this green flame. And this thing roars like the sound, a cacophony of a house of burning children. Like, it is just horrifying, the sounds that is coming out of this thing's throat. However, it is still up. It is still moving.
Oh no.
With that, it is going to take an ungodly long step and put itself directly in front of you, and it's going to take a swipe down at. I'm going to flip a coin to see who it goes for. I'm going to flip a different coin because I have multiple.
I don't listen. To be fair, if someone shot me, I would go for them.
This is true, but both of you are standing there.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm going to flip this coin. I will flip it twice. So if it lands on, call heads or tails. One of you two.
Heads.
Okay.
Tails.
So if it lands on heads, the coin gets flipped again.
Okay.
If it lands on tails, it's gonna go for Hans. See how that works?
Okay.
Yep. So that's a tails.
I mean, again, if someone shot me, I'd go for him too.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep. So it's going to take a swipe at you, and it's going to pick you up. So you are going to take roll endure.
That's 1d10.
Yep.
It's cool.
You know what? Magma Snot, you need to not do this. We're gonna go. Ooh, let's see. We're gonna go with Pixie Juice for this one.
Okay.
I've named all my dice. Pixie Juice gets this one. Come on, don't do me wrong. That's an 8. That's an 8, baby.
Okay. I rolled a 6. So he hits you. You feel the impact, but you're a big fella.
Stoic. Strong.
You feel
For
the
Gretel.
bones- You feel the bones crack a little bit as it hits you, and it picks you up, but you are uninjured, and he is grabbing onto you and roaring into your face, and he's like, "I will consume your entire being." Bryn,
Just
you wanna do
flashes of memories to
Yeah.
that
You see-
fateful night when my sister was eaten, and I was lifted in a very similar way by the scruff of my lederhosen.
Notice for a second, he goes, "I know your smell. You've been here before, boy." Bryn, you have him distracted.
Yeah. I'm going to coat my dagger in what's left of the salt.
Hell yeah. You have enough rain coming in now that you're basically dipping it in salt water.
Okay.
Hey,
yeah.
yo.
And I would say roll 3d10. You're
Cool.
a
Fuck yeah.
physician and you are deceitful. And
I know where to stab people to make it hurt.
I don't know you.
but I know
9.
you, boy.
How?
9.
It's like, You see as he's doing it, he produces, like, just before Bryn is sitting here. Bryn, you said you rolled a 9?
Yeah.
On 3d10, I rolled an 8. So we'll go over this in just a second
Hey,
here.
yo.
You hear, Hans, this voice of your sister coming out of the vocal cords of this thing, just saying, Hans, are you there? And as you're hearing this voice come through, it immediately erupts into the absolute cacophony of the death of 1,000 people. As you look down, and Bryn has a dagger directly up through the rib cage, or what would be the rib cage of this monster. And it is howling as pieces of it are starting to convulse. You see where the bullet ripped through and the lightning struck through is starting to slough off, as if it were like almost like the rot that you saw in the other house, the glass vial. It's starting to droop and rot. And you hear, brother, Hans, why? As the dagger starts to sink into the body as it's slowly sloughing down your arm.
I let go and just. Ugh.
And it looks at you one more time and says, "This is not the end." As its eyes flash and then just lifelessly falls, and all of its bones and flesh and meat slough to the ground in a pile of rot.
Yeah.
When Hans's feet hit the ground, they immediately give way to his knees, kissing the earth passionately and with much remorse.
Oh no, this is so mean.
As you sort through your emotions there, you recognize that two things. One, you're supposed to bring back proof. And two, you recognize that this thing was effectively consuming. It was trying to build itself out of various things. But you notice that when it does consume some stuff... Hans, how old would you say you are?
Hans, I want to say he's late 30s.
Okay. You recognize that as you're kind of like holding onto the hands and trying to break free and slowly hitting the ground and falling to your knees, you notice that a piece of the shoulder that hadn't been hit by lightning has a scar that is similar, that it kind of looks like a tattoo your sister had. Like it had become a part of this thing and melded into it.
It's like a swallow.
Yeah. Just like a little bird on the shoulder of the beast.
Mein sister. Bryn,
Yes?
good job.
It's absolutely disgusting, but yes.
You are covered in gore at this point.
Yeah.
Just every
using the
beast
rain
around
to
you.
just try and wash it out.
Every little beast around you is now like also shrieking, which is part of when you stabbed it. You heard everything roar at the same time, and it just started slowly collapsing to the ground in disgusting twitching heaps. And you guys have slayed the beast.
We will take as many heads as you can. I don't know what would constitute proof.
You have a human skull with antlers.
That is fair. I will take... we will show this to them, but this is going on my wall. Like, absolutely.
Are you sure he won't want to keep it?
I won't let him. This is my kid. I shot it. I shot it with lightning. I gave it a bro fist with Thor. With Thor himself.
So we return back to the village, and we're just going to do a quick recap because I think we're actually over time.
Oh yeah, we absolutely are over by about almost 30 minutes.
Okay.
Like it's fine. Don't worry about it. When the
so,
story's good, we keep going. Let's go.
So we return to the village, and you show your proof to Baron Wojtek. You show the skull. He tries to take it as his own. You punch him. You punch him in the face. He collapses to the ground in a bloody mess as his Radomir comes up, and you realizes that Radomir's just like, I don't like him either.
Das ist gut, yeah.
Does he have a
Das
glass
ist
of
gut,
wine
yeah.
nearby?
Radomir picks up Baron Wojtek, rips the gold chain necklace off of his neck, and throws him out the village gate.
Oh,
Just in time.
Yeah.
Just in time for the first snow. You look
And I assume
over,
the first election.
Yeah, you look over at the village as the snow is coming through. You see Slimmest Jim is quickly becoming the most prominent person in the marketplace.
Bryn, have you tried this? It's very good.
It's
Snaps into
exceptional.
his name, Jim.
No, but I'd love to.
Bryn, you notice that some of the samples that you had from this beast had kind of contaminated some of your stuff. However, it seems to be doing the opposite now, where it's effectively making a healing tincture as opposed to a decaying tincture.
Oh, awesome.
It's kind of reversed itself after its host has died.
Now I have a bottle of magical goo.
Yeah.
That's slowly turning the glass into sand.
You have like a elixir of youth, where it is reversing the
flow of time.
Yeah, reversing the decay of time.
She may not be a witch now, but she will be.
Hey, yo, I'm coming for you. I will
we
keep
see-
my eyes on you.
We see Hans with Auntie Lucy with a makeshift tombstone with a sparrow carved into it, and having some closure, having known that the beast that took his sister's life won't be taking anybody else's.
In the back of his mind, as he's there at the gravesite, he hears, "This isn't over." And it sends a shiver down his spine. He takes out his leather book. And he draws a dick next to the beast's name. Closes the book. And that's where that ends.
Hell yeah. Well, I hope you guys enjoyed it.
Hell yeah. Thank you guys so much for watching. Those of you who arrived late, you'll definitely wanna catch this whole thing when it's uploaded tomorrow. Thank you so much, Video James, for stepping in and running this. This has been fabulous. I would love to hear any pitches you guys would like for Patreon. There's just gonna be the two options this week then. Do either of you have a Patreon art pitch for me?
I want the.
Well, I feel
blow.
like you two need to have the
Yeah.
word.
I'm the artist. I don't get a vote.
Oh, you get a vote. You were the player this time.
No, I'm the artist. Don't worry about it. Don't worry about it.
Okay, so I want like Bryn stabbing her dagger into its chest.
Bryn kill.
Yeah.
Let's see. What was a good moment? I want Hans getting tongue kissed by Auntie Lucy.
Ah, gross kiss.
Gross.
Did you guys have any questions about things that were not touched on or things that were?
I mean, everything seemed to be more or less wrapped up. There's nothing immediately in my head. I feel like I might think of things later, but by then it won't be as important. It won't have mattered.
The concept for it that I had, so I rolled on the table to see what kind of monster.
Yeah,
it would
because
be.
that's the kind of game that the Beast is. That you roll per session.
What I rolled was that its weaknesses were lightning, which made it so that it was a cobbled monster. It was cobbled together. And that its other weakness was salt, meaning that it was unclean. So that's where the rock came in, that it was impure. It needed to be purified with salt. Its mundane weaknesses were that song forces it to revert to its original form. It is horned and terrible. And that it was obsessed with building something. So in this case,
biomass.
Yes, in this case, it was consuming to get ready for the winter.
Oh, Oh.
Yep, and it is more or less modeled after a Wendigo.
Yeah. I pictured the Alistair similarities there.
Yeah.
And that its minions were half human, half beasts. It was just pieced together creatures.
Yeah, I'm glad I didn't peek at these tables, or else I would have it would have taken me out of it as someone who also runs games like this.
I figured you weren't going to, though. I do the same thing, where if the GM stuff is on the same thing,
I don't
I'm
peek.
just not
Like,
gonna don't peek.
That's like looking right behind the screen. The whole thing, the screen is right here.
Yeah, and it has several layers. Its layer was a prosperous farm. I thought that just worked out with it trying to eat. So, yeah, I had fun with it. I like a good old-fashioned horror story. I thought it was creepy enough, and you guys were not in enough safety to warrant like not being scary.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, I didn't exactly build someone that was built for monster hunting.
And then I was very built for monster hunting.
Yeah.
So we kind of balanced that out a little bit, yeah.
Well, it worked out because, like, I was able to put portions of the story together where even though you're not a monster hunter, you still had the appropriate friends in the town.
Yeah.
You were able to get the right information to get the way to
my
win.
thing was definitely going to be, like, going around asking the people that I know around town.
And the equipment that we talked about before we started, where you had a dagger and a poison ring.
Yeah, which I didn't get to use. I wanted to use it on the Baron, but...
the poison ring, I would assume that you used salt in the ring.
Oh, yeah.
And used it to coat the dagger. And then stabbed it in the chest as Hans was being attacked.
Yeah.
That's the way I pictured it, at least.
I want to give a shout out again to Tabletop Audio at tabletopaudio.com for their Castle Raven Soundpad version 1.9. You've been hearing mainly distant organ with evil pulse, horror tone, hollow wind, metal groans. I used wood groans at some point, and then rain outside, and then obviously I sprinkled in thunder outside here and there, along with wall torches. It's just a great resource for people running games in person. Not like super great for running games over Discord because you can't like share audio, but I hope it enhanced the experience for you guys at home. I have been Goon Daddy playing Hans, Witch Hunter, and playing Bryn, the snake oil saleswoman, has been Moss Creature, and then our fabulous GM for this spooky soiree has been Video James.
Hell yeah.
Thank you guys so much for watching, and watch out. There's definitely something under your bed. Definitely, 100%, there's something under your bed. Yes. Woo!